And as part of the annual Thanksgiving tradition, President Biden will pardon these guys, 2 turkeys. I'm not talking about the guys on the floor or behind the camera. We're talking about these turkeys right here. Their names are Peach and Blossom. Peaches is somebody I knew way back when. They were raised in Minnesota by the chairman of the National Turkey Federation, and CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe is joining me now for more on this. All right, Ed, let's talk. You know what I'm going to say. Let's talk turkey. I'm sorry. The president is headed to New York City this afternoon for a Friendsgiving event. What can you tell us about that?
All we know is that he's headed to Staten Island to serve meals to the Coast Guard, and this is a tradition that he has carried out usually when he's over in Nantucket for the holiday itself. So unclear if he's also doing something like this when he's on the island later this week, but for whatever reason is doing it on Staten Island later today. This White House hasn't been keen to share many details of anything he's doing these days, Vlad, so all we really know is that he's headed up there to spend some time with those in uniform and serve them a Friendsgiving meal at the Coast Guard station in Staten Island.
All right. So I understand that you've gotten up close and you've gotten very personal with the honored guests. Talk to me about that.
Look, this is a network that used to have programs called Person to Person and Face to Face. You could call this Turkey to Turkey, Vlad. We met with Peach and Blossom exclusively yesterday, and Jim and Grant Zimmerman, the family from Northfield, Minnesota, that raised the turkeys. Jim is the chairman of the National Turkey Federation. They will be there alongside the president in a little bit when they pardon Peach and Blossom, continuing a 77-year tradition of the National Turkey Federation, at least bequeathing a few birds to the president. But not until 1989 did a president explicitly pardon the turkeys. George H.W. Bush did so amid some protests from animal rights protesters, a little concerned about the fate of those birds. And so every president since has held this explicit pardoning ceremony for the turkeys, be they Democrat or Republican, young or old. This is continuing a holiday tradition. And the holidays continue here at the White House later this afternoon when the White House Christmas tree arrives from North Carolina. The First Lady will greet that tree, and it will be put up while they're in Nantucket later this week. And then the Christmas decorations are revealed usually by sometime next week.
So a couple of things, Ed. We showed a picture earlier of you, and it looked like you were in a hotel room. I don't know if our audience is aware of where the turkeys get to hang out before they make the trip up to the White House. And the question that I had, and it just occurred to me, is are these turkeys specifically bred for this very purpose, or does the president, whoever the president is, choose a different turkey farmer every year?
Oh, Vlad, I'm glad you asked. They are staying over at the Willard Intercontinental Hotel, which is about a block or so from the White House, one of the oldest, most storied hotels in town. They've been hosting the birds for the last 7 years. They were transported here over the weekend in a souped-up SUV, where I was told it took about 16 hours from Minnesota, but they'd stop every 4 hours or so to let the birds relieve themselves. Again, things you didn't think you'd learn on this beat, but we did. The birds are, Peach and Blossom came from a flock of about 44 that were raised there on Zimmerman's farm in Northfield, Minnesota. And he told us that they're essentially looking for those that are best behaved, that know how to strut their stuff. And as you can see there, that's a Peach that gets a little bulked up there, and it's Blossom who's a little more chill. But both of them known to be the kind of bird that can present well in front of crowds, is willing to do so, has good temperament. And so that's the hope, is that they'll make it through this afternoon. Then they're headed to a facility in southern Minnesota for the rest of their lives, a place called, let me just remind myself here, Farm America in Waseca, Minnesota. That's in southern Minnesota. The hope is that they'll be greeted by kids and families who will learn more about turkeys, learn more about farming, and appreciate a little more the good folks who helped raise the birds that, of course, will be the centerpiece of so many Thanksgiving meals across the country later this week.
I love that. In this time, we need some fun and good news. So, folks, if you are sticking around, and I know you will be, we're actually going to show that pardon live right here on CBS News 24/7 in the next hour. So if you got kids, and because I just watched when we showed that video, Ed, the kids that are there checking the turkeys out, they really, really look like enamored with these birds. It's kind of cool.
They absolutely were. I brought my daughters along, and they got a big kick out of it. So
I love it.
It's a fun time.
Yeah, it is indeed. Ed O'Keefe, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate you.